This summer is unbelievably important. And I am right now in a hotel room. I just flew from Miami to the West Coast to visit my dear friend Sally Kempton because she's been a little bit sick. So I'm staying at a hotel room for 3 days, so incubation for COVID. And one little piece of bad news, I completely pulled my back 3 days ago in a way that I never had. So I'm in, fundamentally agonizing pain. So it happens. Nonetheless, right, in the middle of everything, I desperately needed to talk to you. It's really important. It's a crazy big deal. For the last 10 years, I've shared with many of you that we're actually poised between utopia and dystopia. And that actually it wasn't too big to fail. And it was a real threat of existential risk to our very existence, and catastrophic risk, right? A potential for unleashing human suffering that's virtually unimaginable. And that the root cause of existential risk and catastrophic risk is what I called the global intimacy disorder. We don't actually have a shared story of value that will allow us to create in our own bodies a coherence, an intimacy, an eros, to create between us a coherence, an intimacy, and an eros, a joy, and to create that coherence, that intimacy, that eros, that joy between peoples across the globe. Every problem today, every challenge, existential risk and catastrophic risk, requires global coherence, global coordination. You can't get that without global intimacy. And you can't get intimacy without being in a shared story of value. And from that shared story of value, you can find the depth of what we need to fuck reality open, to love reality open, to create the most beautiful world that's possible, and to actually realize potential utopias and not dystopia. Now, this is not, my friends, meta-theoretical. This is about one girl who's 10 who's going to die, and another boy who's 11 who's going to die even more slowly, right? And another girl, and another boy, and another old person. This is talking about a level of human suffering that's unimaginable. You and I together actually can change the course of history for real. And the way we do that is we come together and we tell this new story. And this new story is a story of value. It's rooted in first principles and first values. And it's about how you and I live our lives together. The same first principles and first values that we need for you and I to live our lives together in radical joy, radical goodness, radical fuck, radical aliveness, radical goodness, radical truth, radical beauty. The same thing you need and we need between us to actually live in a story of value, the same thing that will address your depression and your anxiety and your sense of fear and your sense of confusion and your sense of, is this all there is? I'm doing okay, I've got it all covered, but is this all there is? And your sense of yearning, right? And your loneliness and your feeling and my feeling that we're actually not living the most beautiful life that we could. That same story that you and I need is the story that reality needs. We need a new sexual narrative. We need a new narrative of desire. We need a new understanding of shame. We need a new realization of purpose. We need a new narrative of identity. We need a new universe story. And we've spent the last decade working on this, and it's coming together in a shocking way. We're in the Renaissance together. We are the Renaissance. So here I am. I have agonizing back pain. I'm completely with you. I'm madly delighted to see you. But I'm not willing to say it's my job to convince you to come. No deal. That's the old world, right? I got to sell you something to show up. I want you to show up because you care about the world. I want you to show up because you actually can feel the joy and the suffering, the pain and the possibility. I want you to show up because you're willing to take your seat at the table. And my setting's not perfect, and the light's not right, and I'm a little unshaven, and literally as I talk, there's that pain shooting up my back. Fuck that! Let's show up and do this. But I can promise you one thing. We'll step into a field of joy, a field of eros, a field of creativity, a field of goodness, a field of emergent gnosis that's unimaginable. And in your personal life, in your most direct personal life, something will move and change in a way that you can't even imagine. So I'm turning to you and I'm saying, let's skip the marketing bullshit. Let's skip, oh, do I have time? Do I not have time? Like all the stuff we do when we're consumers, and we make everybody commodify things for us, to try and please us, to give us a quick hit of pseudo-eros. Like, no, we're not doing that this way. We're partners. We've been together at a festival before. We know what the possibility is. This is a year like no other. We have exactly 100 places available. Okay? So please, today, look at the bottom of this video, call up, show up, and let's do this together. We're actually going to wake up. We're going to grow up in a new way. We're going to open up in a way that we've never done, and we're going to show up for reality. So wow, I could not be more ecstatic to see you. And I'm trembling right now, not just because of the back pain that you're tired of hearing about, but because I'm trembling before thee. I'm trembling before she, before the goddess who needs us to do this. This is ours to do. It's ours to come together as a band of outrageous lovers, to tell this new story of value, to articulate it, to write it, to film it, to laugh it, to dance it, to sex it, to love it open. This is ours to do. And you know what? I'm not going to make 30 new videos every day to entertain you. I'm just going to keep fucking sending you the same one every day. So at the end of my life, at the end of your life, when reality, because we're all held in joy and accountability at the end of our lives, when reality asks, did you show up? Don't say you didn't get an invitation. This is the invitation. And it's so personal. It's so intimate. I know you're saying, it's my life. I can do what I want with it. Of course it's your life. And my friends, of course it's not your life. You didn't choose when to be born. You didn't choose where to be born. You didn't choose to whom to be born. You didn't choose what gifts you have and don't have. You didn't choose your socioeconomic class, and we're not going to choose where we die. So yes, it's your life and my life at one level, and we should have appropriate boundaries for sure, but it's also much bigger than our lives. We're being lived by something so much larger. Friends, we're being lived by outrageous love herself. We are the band of outrageous lovers, and we're going to come together and love each other like we never have before. That's the way of the heart. When we open the eye of the heart, something happens. Something new is possible. And reality stands at this crossroads. And we have to take the road less traveled by. And that, beloveds, outrageous lovers, friends, that will make all the difference. Thank you so very, very, very much. Totally humbly, totally loving you, totally waiting to be there together. And if we need to put up tents, we'll get extra places. We need to find little hotels nearby where people can stay, we'll do that. But for one moment in your life, let go of comfort and choose pleasure. The pleasure of taking a seat at the table. The pleasure of taking responsibility for the whole thing. The pleasure of loving each other and loving reality open in a way that we never have before. Thank you madly. Love you madly, madly. Thank you, thank you.